Hello, and welcome to our virtual dual credit meeting. Obviously, we wish this was in different circumstances, but wanted to be able to share this information with you in a timely manner and ensure that you get this information so you can make the best decision for your student for the next school year. So we'll go ahead and get started. This is Jamie Batten. I'm the high school counselor. In a typical circumstance, we would also have some of our dual credit teachers along with campus administrators, Mr. Mitchell, the Future Ready advisor. But again, our goal was to get this information to you in a timely manner so that you could be informed and make a good decision. So I wanted to first let you know the courses that we offer, and let me clarify. So dual credit, of course, is meaning your student is enrolled at SHS while also being enrolled at Dallas College. So they are dually enrolled and earning dual credit, both college credit and high school credit. So at the end of the presentation, we'll talk about the entrance guidelines and prerequisites for each of these courses, but these are the courses that we offer via Dallas College, and we actually partner with the Eastfield campus. So we have English Composition 1 and 2 that satisfies the English 3 requirement. British Literature, this is a semester-long only course, and in the spring of that course, it turns to honors, but that satisfies the English 4 course. So a student has to take English 3 dual credit before they would be eligible for English 4. We also offer U.S. History. That is a full year. Government, of course, is a semester, in economics. Those are both offered senior year. We offer several math classes: college algebra, trig, pre-cal calculus, and statistics. We also offer dual credit biology for science majors and art history. So if a student chooses to take all the dual credit courses we offer, they have an opportunity to earn quite a few credits, and it's an awesome opportunity. Of course, when making this decision, it's important to talk about the benefits and then the cost, of course. What we find in dual credit students is they typically have better on-time graduation rates whenever they transfer to colleges, and they have better GPAs in college. Additionally, because of the jump in level of rigor, students in dual credit typically have better critical thinking skills and score higher on the SAT and ACT test. It's also unique with us. All of our dual credit courses, aside from government and economics, are taught by SISD staff that are also credentialed through Eastfield. So it's nice because they still have those supportive teachers that know them and love them so well, but they're earning that college credit. It's also really important that you know that we are inclusive of all students. As long as they meet the prerequisites, all students can be admitted. Again, we'll talk about those at the end, but each of the instructors that teach these courses have a master's degree in their subject area. So we truly believe them to be the experts of their field. The other important thing, and we get this question a lot, is as long as your student is transferring to a Texas public university, dual credit courses transfer. Sometimes they satisfy an elective credit or a degree requirement. Mr. Mitchell, our Future Ready advisor, is wonderful at talking to kiddos about what will transfer and how it will transfer. So if you have questions on that, I would definitely reach out to him. The other thing is it's not something we want to sugarcoat. There are expectations. I mean, your student will be taking a college level course, so it's important they recognize time and assignment management, the thinking skills needed. They are going to be expected to advocate for themselves. Obviously, we want parents to continue to be involved in this partnership, but the idea is that a student is in a college course, so they should act as a college student and advocate for themselves as needed. Additionally, the level of coursework can vary by course. So if you have specific questions regarding your student taking dual credit history, perhaps, we definitely want you to reach out to their professors or those teachers so that they can give you a clear expectation of what is to come in that course. This is unique to Sunnyvale. What we do is we want kids to benefit from taking dual credit, but we also don't want to hurt their college GPA if it turns out to be not the right fit for them. So students must maintain an average of 70 or higher to remain in dual credit course. If a student has below a 70 on that first report card, they will be removed from that class, no exceptions. This, of course, is so that typically the college drop date is quite far into the semester. And as long as we're able to put them in an on-level course, with a schedule change, and that's what we want to do because we want the kid to still get the high school credit, of course. The other thing that comes up sometimes is kiddos are passing a course and wants to drop it. This creates kind of a scheduling nightmare. And so, if that's the case, if your student is in but they're passing and are going to earn that college credit, they are typically expected to remain in the course unless the principal approves of the change or there's an extenuating circumstance. So it's important to note that yes, the drop date for Eastfield may be different than us, but this is kind of more the guidelines we use as far as dropping courses. So it's also important to note that the curriculum used through Dallas College in our partnership is called Include Ed. This will be new next year. It's going to be really kind of a seamless transition. So students that are enrolled at Dallas College have an eCampus account, and all of the required materials needed for their courses will be in that eCampus account. So this will eliminate the need for checking out books or going to the bookstore and getting those on your own. Dallas College charges us a certain amount, but you will be expected to pay $40 per course per semester, and then SISD will pay the remaining portion. So essentially, you're getting 3 hours of college coursework for $40, which for those of you who have students already in college or maybe remember those fees from your own, that is an excellent, excellent deal. And we're really excited about the new Include Ed program. Let me also note, if your student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, then we will definitely talk about reducing that fee or waiving it completely. So don't let this be a factor if that applies to you. Another thing that comes up sometimes is students that receive accommodations either through special education or 504. In order to continue to receive those accommodations at the college level, even in a dual credit course, they need to apply for support through the Disability Support Services Office. This office is super helpful. I help students go through this process every semester. So if your student does need accommodations, then you can either look at this website here, it's linked, contact me, ask any questions. We don't want your student needing accommodations to keep them from enrolling in college coursework, but also need you to know that there are a few steps to take in order for them to receive those accommodations starting on the first day of class. So let's say the semester has started, and you're getting frustrated. A lot of times the kids' first move is to come to me and say, I just want to drop the class. Well, I totally understand that feeling of frustration, and I'll absolutely certainly work through it. But these two issues do come up. Again, we want your student to learn to advocate for themselves. And so the first thing I say is, well, you talk to your teacher. Well, no, she doesn't understand. Okay, well, we need to work through that. And so again, I'm happy to help students have that conversation, but it's important that that communication stays open. And again, our teachers are humans, and once they know the situation, if there's an extenuating circumstance or a little bit of grace or leniency needs to be given, as long as they're informed and communicated with, typically they'll be willing to work with you, but it's important and that communication is key. The other thing is sometimes there's questions on grades. And so, again, that's a valid conversation, but I would say really reflect on that. Look at your rubric, look at your syllabus, and clarify, did I turn it in on time, and really get with the teacher because, again, communication is key. Frustration will happen, and that's totally understandable, but it's important to take the appropriate steps. So, dual credit is, again, being enrolled in college coursework while earning high school and college credit at the same time. So it's quite a jump for students as a junior student. And so it's something to really consider. What's your motivation? For some kids, they only take these courses for class rank. Keep in mind, we are a non-ranking high school. We only rank the top 10% of students. So a lot of times, I won't say a lot of times, but that is a confusion for some kiddos. So it's important to note that only that top 10% is ranked, and only that top 10% is given that weighted GPA. So again, that's a fine motivator, but keep that in mind. Is your motivation college prep or applications? Do you maybe know that your high school GPA is not so strong, so you really want to work on your college GPA? Is it you want to be pushed and challenged? Think about the amount of extracurriculars you have. Is it because you want to Be in classes with your friends. All of these are fine motivations, but it's important to recognize what they are so that when it gets hard and you have homework and all your classes and due dates coming up, you remember your motivation. The other thing I want to think about is we do have prerequisites. So your grades are important, but also prior course rigor. Okay, so if I look at your transcript, let's say you want to take English 3 dual credit and you were in regular English 2 and got a 90. That's an excellent grade. It's not anything to be ashamed of, but how hard was that class for you? Was that a rigorous course? Was it easy to get that A? Are you ready for quite a jump? Because that would be going from a regular on level high school course to a college course. So it's quite a jump. It's important to realize that. Another thing is, and you know this about your own student, is are they a procrastinator? Are they an achiever? Perfectionist? I think each of these has their own difficulties. Obviously, if your student's a procrastinator, then when it is time for those due dates and deadlines, that can be a really stressful, pulling all nighters, tears. I've heard it all. But also, if your student's a perfectionist, we don't want to put undue pressure on a student without being really considering their mental health and academic level. Are your expectations, oh, it's going to be an easy class? I've heard this teacher's easy. Or are you expecting the challenge? Are you aware that we're going to push you and expect a lot from you? The other thing is, really, like I said, think about the amount of extracurricular involvement. Do you have a job? Are you super involved in your church? How much time do you have really outside of school to work on school? If you are possibly going to be an NCAA participant, then I would encourage you to reach out to Mr. Mitchell and ensure that the courses would work for that. The other thing is think about your major and area of study. As we mentioned before, if you're going to a Texas public university, it will transfer. It may transfer as an elective, but that's another thing to kind of start considering before you just pile on courses and courses and stress yourself over something. The other thing is design a plan that's right for you. Just because your friend is taking English 3, U.S. history, algebra, trig, and art history doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Just because your older daughter did that doesn't mean that's what your younger son has to do. We want your coursework to be your coursework, and we want to make sure the plan is set up to help you and your students succeed. So this is where, again, on a perfect evening, we would have our awesome teachers to kind of discuss their courses specifically. But in general, these are some of our own teachers' thoughts. I have heard from a lot of them that most students tend to improve. Maybe they take that first test and go, "Oh, I didn't prepare for that," or they submit that first essay and go, that wasn't my best work." Most of our students tend to improve because of that support the teachers give. The other thing is it's a great opportunity for your student to be exposed to some challenging coursework before they're away at school without you. And it helps them really work on those coping skills and handling frustrations as they come. Another thing is, like I mentioned, it's not just honors or GT courses, it's college coursework. So a student that goes from like regular English 2 to college English 3, it's essentially skipping 2 years of school. So really consider the change in workload that you'll see. Another thing is these students are teenagers. They aren't fully developed cognitively or emotionally. And so they may be all in one day and hit a wall and then the motivation can go away. So really think about your student and think about their needs. It's important to really look at what you're expecting. I understand wanting an A in all things and working hard to get that. But that is also not what it's about at the end of the day, is not just earning that grade. I have heard multiple teachers say if your student improves in critical thinking, study skills, time management, then overall that year is a success, whether they got the A or the B or whatever. Okay. So keep in mind that our dual credit teachers do have to adhere to Eastfield and Dallas College guidelines. So it's important that they remain with their integrity intact as far as grading practices go. It's a unique situation in that they are employed by both us and Dallas College. It's unique, so there is more parent involvement, but college still requires the student to be held accountable at the end of the day. So it's really kind of a great opportunity to scaffold that support, so that when they're at college, they know how to do that. Um, Another thing is, again, sometimes I think we fail to see the joy and the struggle at times, and I think that that's where a lot of learning and growth comes. So, just keep in mind these are basic freshman level classes. The grade is important. I totally agree. We want students to do their best and achieve their best, but don't let that be the one stressor. Um, yes, and follow the syllabus that you'll be given. Most of our teachers probably have those available for you to review now if you kind of want to see what you're going to expect before you sign up. The other thing that a lot of kids don't realize is you have access to all Eastfield and Dallas College services. This year, again, is unique. Most of the campuses still shut down due to COVID. But in a typical year, they would have all the accessibility to the bookstore, the library, counseling services, anything on campus. They are a Eastfield and Dallas College student, so they get all of those services, and there are tons of awesome opportunities there. I wanted to show this quick video about the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
Researcher and professor Carol Dweck uses the term mindset to describe the way people think about ability and talent. Dweck delineates between two different mindsets that exist on a continuum. The first is the fixed mindset, which suggests that your abilities are innate and unchangeable. The second is a growth mindset, which views it as something you can improve through practice. In a fixed mindset, you view failure as permanent, but with a growth mindset, you see failure as a chance to learn and even pivot. Those with a fixed mindset are more likely to view critical feedback as a personal attack, while those with a growth mindset will see it as a chance to improve, where they can develop new systems. With a fixed mindset, you're more likely to choose easier tasks and put in minimal effort. After all, if talent is fixed, why bother improving? Why even try? But with a growth mindset, you're more likely to embrace challenging tasks and work hard to improve. Those with a fixed mindset are likely to give up when they face an obstacle. Meanwhile, those with a growth mindset will view obstacles as a chance to experiment and solve problems. In a fixed mindset, the focus is on measurable accomplishments. But with a growth mindset, the focus is more on a journey of continual improvement. With a fixed mindset, you're less likely to take creative risks. But with a growth mindset, creative risks are simply a way to innovate and improve. Ultimately, your mindset influences everything from creative risk-taking to how you view feedback to whether or not you finish difficult tasks. And in the end, it's one of the greatest factors in determining whether or not you grow and improve in your abilities.
Okay, so really quickly, just a reminder, like that growth mindset, of course, is a goal for all students. We all struggle. We all go through change and hardships. And so whether it be in dual credit or other areas of life, that growth mindset is something that we need to teach and instill in our students so that they can overcome and grow. So next steps, after you kind of determine whether or not the dual credit program is right for you, these are kind of the next steps. So next Tuesday, there will be a required application session. So we will be applying to college next Tuesday. Students that come to school after attendance is taken will come to the cafeteria and we'll be socially distanced. Mr. Mitchell is going to help me have students apply. Online students will need to come to school at 1:50 p.m. in the cafeteria, and we'll go through that same process. Please bring your charged device. So what we'll go over during that session is we'll complete the Eastfield application online. Then we'll watch a TSI pre-assessment video and take a quiz. We're going to check to make sure your device is ready for TSI testing. This is the entrance testing that will have to be completed before enrollment in the course. And then we'll give you an enrollment packet and teach you how to fill that out. So again, if your student is serious about taking dual credit courses next year, this is the next kind of requirement, the next step to take. If your student is going through quarantine or some other extenuating circumstance, please email me because it is certainly something we can do online. It is a little tedious when we have to do that for a lot of kiddos. So if at all possible, if your student can come to those sessions on the 9th, that would be awesome. So the TSI test, as I mentioned, that stands for Texas Success Initiative. So any freshman student has to take this test to see if they're ready for college coursework. Once we know how many kids apply, students will be assigned a day, the 17th, 18th, or 19th. So if they're assigned the 18th and they have a game or something they're going to be on campus, they just need to let Mr. Mitchell know. He's going to help organize that this year. Keep in mind your student must pass the TSI prior to enrollment. If a student does not pass part or all of it, they do have an opportunity to retest. And as soon as that is scheduled, Mr. Mitchell will communicate that. Once a student passes, they'll be given that enrollment packet I mentioned, and those will be due to Ms. Batten's office by Friday, March 5th. So here is kind of who to contact with questions. I'm the enrollment advisor for Sunnyvale when it comes to dual credit. So if you have questions about that, please reach out anytime. Mr. Mitchell, of course, is our Future Ready advisor, and he can help you with questions about what will transfer outside of school. If you have questions on TSI, if you want to just directly speak with anyone at Dallas College or the early college programs, there's our email info, and then these are our teachers that teach the courses that we offer here. So those are really great points of contact. If you aren't sure who to call, then definitely just let me know and I'll be happy to help you. So here's those entrance guidelines I mentioned. Again, a student must have a 70 or higher to remain in the course. If not, they'll be withdrawn. So for English 1301 and 1302, again, that's English 3, a student has to have met the TSI reading, met the TSI writing, and then we also look at final grades. So if they are in English 2, regular level, they would need a 90 or above. If they're in Honors English 2, they would need an 85 or above. Obviously, you can't have 1301 without 1302 without 1301, so that's what that prerequisite is. And then to continue into English 4, of course, a student would need 1301 and 1302. For college algebra, a student has to have 2 years of algebra and 1 year of geometry. So a student has to have algebra 1, algebra 2, and geometry. Must have met TSI math, and then the same of those scores, a 90 in regular algebra 2 or an 85 in honors algebra 2. Then they can go on to either trig, pre-calc calculus, and then stats. Then for biology, a student has to have met reading and writing on TSI. We only offer this class to seniors, and we actually look at their biology and their physics grade. So it's those same standards, the 90 or above in regular or an 85 or above in honors. History is TSI reading and writing, and then we look at either whichever history they took most recently or whichever grade is higher. And then government and economics are reading, writing, and those same history scores. Art history is open to juniors and seniors, and you must have met TSI reading and writing. I know that was a lot of information, and you probably have lots of questions and are wondering about what's best for your kid. Another question I'm sure you have is what's the difference in dual credit and AP? So really briefly, I want to just mention, of course, dual credit, if you pass the course, then you have that college credit. AP is another level. It's another level of rigor, another level of advancement. And at the end of an AP course, students are encouraged to take the AP test. And depending on how they score on that AP test, then they can earn college credit. We're going to have a separate AP parent meeting. So if you have specific questions about that, I would ask you to either reach out to myself or Mr. Mitchell or look for information on the AP program that is new to Sunnyvale. As always, I'm here to support you and happy to help however I can. Talk soon.